Hello, all you tiny people trapped within the confines of my computer. Today, we're talking about the fact that the internet's broken. Plain and simple, the internet is broken, it's dying, and I don't think we can really fix it. Computers have been around since October of 1969. Technically, they've been around for longer than that, but that's whenever, computers changed. And that is 55 years, going on 56, which is more than most people on the planet have been alive, meaning a majority of the population is younger than computers. And then the internet has been around since January of 83, meaning if you were born January 2nd, 1983 onward, the internet is older than you. That's kind of crazy. And if you were born after 2000, pretty much all of your life has been in the span of modern internet and how far along it is and it being open to most people on the planet. And there's exceptions where there's certain people in certain areas who haven't seen the internet and what have you. But for the most part, the internet's older than you and it's been around longer than you and it's been accessible for your entire existence, myself included. And that's fucking crazy. So today we're talking about that for what seems like it's going to be a long fucking time. So buckle up. Let's get into what the internet was and what it is, noting some differences, figuring out why I'm saying that it's broken and why others are saying that it is dead. So to begin, the internet hasn't always been, what's the right word, horrible. It seems if I open up my phone or my computer or hell, even turn on my TV, all there is negativity. There's hate, there's death, there's talks of war, there's so much pure hatred for the world and everything in it. It seems like if you open up Twitter, all you have is terrible things to hear about. You open up Reddit, all there is terrible things to hear about. You open up YouTube, which is supposed to be a place to share creativity, all there is terrible things. This video technically included in that. And that's not what this was for. To begin, old school chat logs and stuff, just talk about shit you like. Oh, you like Star Wars? Here's 30 people who love Star Wars. Talk about it. Oh, you're a comic nerd? Here's 20 people that love comic books. Talk to them. You're looking for love. Awesome. Here's 17 people who are also doing that. Whereas now, there's hundreds of millions of people talking about comic books. There's hundreds of millions of people talking about Star Wars. There's probably a billion people looking for love on the internet. And nobody's doing anything positive with any of it. The people on the Star Wars side, all they do is complain and rant about the media that they love. Same with the comic book nerds. It's, oh, this is terrible, this is bad, this actor sucks, this person should get fired, they should bring this person back because they were good and this is all bad. And that's what that is. And then on the finding love side, they're not fucking actually looking. What they're doing is they are putting themselves out there in a way that is super unhealthy, in a way that is almost like a parasocial relationship with the app that they're on. And then that continues, and then hundreds of millions of other people are doing that, and nobody's being genuine. So when they're meeting people, they're not actually meeting the person that they looked at, they're meeting a whole other being. And in doing that, they're ruining their chances, and then they get angry at it, they blame the app, they blame the people on it, they get mad at each other, they give up, then they don't look anymore. And they never go looking in person because they have so much fucking social anxiety because they've grown up on the internet and don't know how to be a human being. Me included. So, that's kind of crazy. A little bit. Excuse me. So there's that part. There's that portion, and we'll get back into that. Don't worry, we'll talk about it more. News. News on the internet is broken. It makes no sense. People are lying. Trusted news sources are throwing things out there that are factually inaccurate, and that's causing issues because then millions of people are seeing it, and they're being fed lies, and they're believing it because it's a news source. A really good example is Fox. Fox News, for a long time, was really trustworthy, and for a majority of the time the internet has been along, which is all of my life, people have been looking to Fox as the news source. It's everything they say is trustworthy. They haven't lied to us so far. Well, they spread misinformation about medical stuff. They spread misinformation about prisons. They spread misinformation about political figures. They spread misinformation about themselves. They spread misinformation about other news sources. They spread misinformation about online creators. They spread misinformation about the way that sites work. They spread misinformation about what they do on the internet. They spread misinformation about their advertisers. They spread misinformation about the things that they're advertising. They spread misinformation about the things that sponsor them. They also spread misinformation about how much money they make. They spread misinformation about this, and this, and this, and it keeps on going, and there's not an end of the list. And it's not just them. This isn't a Fox call out. I'm not making a video about Fox News. Fox News is one of thousands of news sources that are just outwardly spreading misinformation. And you can spread misinformation in a way that is a joke, such as The Onion, which just says stuff that's bullshit. But they are a comedy thing. They are not the fucking news. They are strictly comedy. They are filled with actors. None of them are trying to make a genuine news. However, CNN, Fox, fucking CBS has their news thing. Like, all of these things are just lying to you all day long. And you're believing it because it's the fucking news. They are supposed to tell you about the weather. They're supposed to tell you about events that are happening. They're supposed to help you with setting up these things. But instead, all they do is lie. They say, here's the weather for Wednesday. That child shot somebody. They didn't actually. Or gaming causes violence. We have proof, and then their proof is a study that is entirely wrong and has no like structural points at all. Or they come out and they're like, hey, this person who's running for a political campaign, they've done all of these terrible things. Where's our proof? Where is it? Anyways, next statement, because they can't give you an answer because they're lying. And they know they're lying, and everybody who works there knows they're lying. Half of the internet knows they're lying, but you know what the other half of the internet does? They believe it because it's the fucking news. Because they've been getting fed that their entire lives. And if you're somebody who's a little bit older, like let's say you're 30 or 40, sure, there's a version of you where you didn't see the internet for a while, but it's older than you are. It just is. If you're 43 years old, the internet's older than you. And if you didn't see it until you were 12, that's not important to the conversation here. You have grown up with the internet. Like people who are 20 and under, you've grown up with the internet by your side. If you're like 30 or 40, you've grown up with the internet. You guys have grown together. So I think you should be able to tell the difference between a factual statement and a just full-blown lie from those people, but you can't. You know why? Because it's the people you were meant to trust, the people who were meant to tell you the truth, and people who you have grown up believing. And then we wonder what the problem is with the next generation of people. They're growing up the same way you did. The only difference is they don't get to grow alongside it. It's growing way faster than them. It's been here way longer than them, and it's way more trustworthy than them. So whenever they go and read a book and they figure out some information, and then somebody online says the opposite, fuck are they going to do? Say, I saw it in a book? Everybody's going to trust the internet anyway. So, fuck that. Let's get into my platform, shall we? Here on YouTube, whenever it started, there was cat videos, there was people talking about their day, and then there was people pirating movies and stuff. Now there are people who are making millions of dollars being a bad person. And I'm not talking about Dan TDM, I'm not talking about Markiplier, I'm not talking about fucking these people who have been here forever, I'm not talking about Jack's Films. I'm talking about the people who come onto YouTube or onto Twitch or any other service like that, and then they do terrible things. They talk shit about everybody. They get into fights. They push agendas that make no fucking sense. They spread misinformation. They are homophobic or racist, or they build a community out of hateful people, or they do something stupid like selling food to children, food that isn't healthy and food that they pretend is healthy, and all that bullshit. Those are the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about your Logan Paul. I'm talking about your Mr. Beast. I'm talking about your KSI. I'm talking about your fucking Jack Doherty, or however you say his name. I'm talking about your Aiden Ross. Those people make millions of dollars spreading misinformation, being rude, building communities off of hate speech, and by not only doing all of that, but doing that with a smile on their face and saying that they're making the world better, saying that they are entertainers and saying that they are helpful. They fucking aren't. They just, I'm sorry, they're not. And then there's other people on the platform who I can point at and say those are good people who are doing a good thing. Examples, Moist Critical. Tremendous human being, super kind. I don't think whenever he says something that's wrong, he immediately backtracks, fixes it, and tells people that he was wrong. Markiplier, who's donated fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars to charity, and then raised millions for charity. Somebody who is extremely well thought out in what he says, somebody who is open to other people, whether they be gay or black or trans or whatever the fuck, or if they are religious or not. Kind to them. And there are hundreds of thousands of creators like that, but they get buried under all of the ones who do the terrible shit. The biggest creator on the platform currently is somebody whose entire goal of being on the platform is to make as much money as possible. So if you're a person who believes that Mr. Beast does good things to do good things, I think you are just wrong. I think there was a point where that was accurate. I think there was a point 10 years ago where that was true. It's not now. It just fucking isn't. And it won't ever be again. The guy makes millions of dollars, pumps out content that is brain rot and is brainwashing people, and then he sells things that he should not be selling, like food. So there's that. And that's the number one guy. That's the guy at the top. That's the guy with all the deals. That's the guy with all the money. That's fucked up. Anyways, how about we talk about another thing on YouTube that's an issue? Brain rot, baby! Oh, you want your channel to do well? Make 9 million YouTube shorts now. Because that's a thing. We have to do that now. Which is terrible for everybody's brains. One moment. So, whether it be here on YouTube, or over on Instagram, or on Twitter, or on TikTok, or wherever the fuck, short form content is ruining our fucking brains. It just is. I don't know what to say. I am not going to sit here and pretend that I'm perfect and that I've never made shorts. There are 400 of them on my channel, or whatever the fuck. And I recorded a bunch last week for this. They are coming out alongside this video as like a like notation, because they're all shorts. They all don't make any fucking sense, and none of them matter whatsoever. And they're there, and they're coming out in the next few days and whatnot. And their entire existence is to prove a point, because they're going to get better views than all of my videos this next week. They just are. Which sucks dick. But you know, what am I going to do about it? So there's that. Short form content is tremendously unhealthy for our brains. It just is. There is so much wrong with it. There's so much pure brain rotting nothingness on the internet. If you open up YouTube, sometimes it throws you directly into shorts without you getting a choice. And then you get sucked in and you start scrolling and you start scrolling and you start scrolling, and then 40 minutes later you have wasted almost an hour of your life on something that has not helped you in any way, has not taught you in any way, and has done absolutely nothing to fulfill you in like a creative sense. And that kind of fucking sucks that that's a thing that you don't even really get a choice on at this point. It just, there it is. So that fucking sucks. And that's not just YouTube. That is everywhere. Excuse me. Jeebus. At this point in time, I am not really on social media. My Twitter has been deleted. My Blue Sky is deleted. I don't have an Instagram. I don't have a TikTok. I have a Discord, but I use that specifically for talking to you guys, and then depending on the day, my partner. So there's that. Typically, not social media. I don't have a Reddit anymore. All of those things are gone. I don't have those. I have Discord. I have YouTube. I have a Patreon, but like, I'm kind of I just put stuff over there. Nobody uses it. There's nobody on it. Nobody's ever pledged to it. It's just there. So, I guess it's just YouTube 2.0, but with 0 views. So like, I don't have social media anymore. I have gotten rid of it all, as I don't need it. It doesn't help me, and it makes me get on with my day way easier because I'm not constantly staring at a million terrible things. I'm not reading about fucking baby Gronk at 3 in the morning, and I'm not having to deal with fucking brain rot, edgelord humor being thrown down my throat all day long. Luckily, that's out of the fucking way. But millions of other people are glued to the screen all the time, and there's infinitely stuff going on and infinitely stuff that you have to look at. So if you're watching this and you spend 4 hours a day on Reddit, delete Reddit. It's not good for you. If you spend 4 hours a day on Twitter, delete Twitter. It's actually the worst one. Please delete Twitter. It is the worst social media. Delete that shit. If you have an Instagram, depending on what you use it for, you should probably get rid of it. If you have a Facebook, depends on what you use it for. There's a lot more family stuff for Facebook, so I don't want to tell people no, but I don't. But fuck that. So, you know, that sucks. But, like, people have spent... If you spend 4 hours of your day on Reddit, then, you know, every 2 weeks you're spending, like, 2 full days on Reddit. That's fucking insane. So, maybe cut that down. You know, just a little. Just a little. Just a little. What is my screen time? Let's pull that up. Currently, my screen time for the day is 1 hour and 2 minutes, with an hour of it being YouTube and 2 minutes being Google. I've unlocked my phone 33 times. I've had 67 notifications. Yeah. And that will definitely go up. Discord is probably going to go up because when I'm done, I'm going to text the Discord for this channel alongside my partner. So, you know, it'll go up a bit for that. And maybe add some time on my Messenger talking to my roommate or to my partner. So, like, there's that. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm perfect. I still spend 2 or 3 hours on my phone a day. The only thing that I'm going to throw in there that's like a difference is I'm not doom scrolling. I am posting shit on YouTube. I am commenting stuff on YouTube, which is going to be like 30 minutes of it. I spend time looking at other people's shit on YouTube, specifically people who I'm very into or people who inspire me. And then the rest of my time, period, is either research for videos or talking to people in my personal life. And if you have 3 hours a day or 4 hours a day or 5 hours a day where that's the stuff you're doing, where you're researching for something or you're doing stuff for school or for work or you are hanging out with your friends or whatever, that's different. But if you're doom scrolling for 3.5 hours every single morning, you know, maybe don't do that if you can, if you have the choice. So, you know, there's that. There are some not good people on the internet. For example, there are millions of people who are racist and or spread racist propaganda and misinformation. And that is super harmful towards, you know, a lot of the planet. That's harmful towards people of color. That's harmful towards any people of Asian descent. That's harmful towards people who are natives to any land. That is harmful to pretty much everyone. And then it makes everybody look bad, and there's no positivity about spreading that sort of information or spreading that sort of hate. There's also no justifiable reasoning for hating people based on that. If you hate someone based on their skin, you're a bad person. Period. That's that. I don't care where you're from. I don't care about your age, your gender, your sexual identity. None of that's important. If you hate somebody based on the color of their skin, based on the country they come from, or anything like that, you're a bad person. That's that. And the reason I bring up the racism specifically is because on sites such as Twitter or Reddit, racist slurs, racist propaganda, racist ideologies, and figureheads in the communities that build up racism are all allowed. Those can just be there. Somebody yelling the N-word, let's post that all over Twitter. Put it everywhere. Make sure everyone sees it. Should we take it down for being hate speech? Fuck no. Leave it up. Leave it there. Which is pretty fucked. Or, the fact that creators on these platforms can get away with saying horrendous things about groups of people. Like people just posting hard R all over Twitter and nobody gets in trouble, or making fun of Asian people for this, that, and the other, and then that being allowed to stay, or whatever the fuck. And that's kind of gross. Is that not gross? Do other people not find that to be incredibly insufferable and disgusting and depraved? That is something that is not only allowed, but in some ways encouraged on sites such as YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I mean, if you look at Instagram comments, you'll find more slurs than an Xbox lobby in 2012, which is fucking insane. Speaking of games not caring, isn't that crazy? Online video games showing no care whatsoever for homophobia or racism or sexism or bias towards religions and all that shit. Isn't that really fucking gross to you? I feel like that's really fucking gross. It just sounds disgusting. So, there's that. Almost the same issue, just another topic. Sexism is crazy on the internet. So many pure, hateful comments and hateful videos towards women. So many incredibly large creators allowed to spread rude, offensive, misogynistic phrases and terms and ideas about women all over the place. It doesn't matter if they are 15 or 60, they're allowed to do it. And nobody can tell them off, apparently, which is a little weird. The biggest example I can think of is Andrew Tate being deplatformed, which was just a lie. He had 6 other platforms that were running, and, so that's really weird. And then he traffics poor fucking women, and then he's still allowed to use this platform. Why wouldn't he be? Put him all over Twitter. Put him back on Twitter. Delete his account. Put him back. He said the N-word. Good. He talked shit about more women. Good. So that's not super gross or anything. So that fucking sucks. And then that pushing other creators to the point where they're allowed to open up about it. It's creators such as Dr. Disrespect and Aiden Ross, who in the time since the big Andrew Tate explosion have not only grown to be considerably worse people, not that they were ever good, but also that they have taken these ideologies about women and they have pushed them to the forefront, infinitely pushing them to your screen whenever they are almost idols to look up to for children. So there are young men and young women and people between who are watching these creators and viewing them talk hatefully towards women and talk down to them and treat them as if they are not equals. And that's going to affect those children. That's going to affect the way that they view each other. It's going to affect the way they view themselves. And it's going to be a big affecting factor in how they view the opposite gender. Because that's going to scare young women. That's going to empower, in heavy quotations, young men. And that's not healthy. That's not good for them. That's not good for you. That's not good for the future. That is terrible for everyone involved. But those creators are allowed to do that because free speech is a thing, and with free speech comes freedom of being allowed to say terrible things to people without any reconciliation or anything. So, that's really gross. On that same note, female creators are being pushed down for empowering themselves and one another. Female creators are being treated poorly for being female. Female creators are being pushed down because they are female. Female creators are being hurt and put in situations that are unfair simply due to the fact that they do not agree with these terrible misogynistic ideologies. And because of that, these people are losing money, they are losing their following, and they are losing their ability to creatively express themselves in the way that they have been. And I don't know about you, but if that happened to me, I'd be really fucking grossed out and really pissed off. Another super similar thing that's slightly different. Homophobia, baby. Let's get into it. I love homophobia. Whoa. Homophobic messaging and homophobic ideas and homophobic imagery and terrible lies about gay people are spread all over the internet all the fucking time. Because every gay dude is evil. And lesbians are even worse. Which is really fucking gross. Really, 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 really gross. And then creators are allowed to spread misinformation and hate about gay people, rather they be straight, gay, bisexual, transgender, if they are whatever, anything under that rainbow spectrum. I'm allowed to hate you and get away with it, and nobody can tell me otherwise. And that's just allowed. So, creators who are blatantly homophobic are just allowed to do that. And that's on every platform. Twitch allows it, which sucks. YouTube allows it, which sucks. Twitter allows it, which, they're going to allow anything. It's from Twitter. Instagram allows it. Fuck. TikTok allows it. Fuck. Reddit allows it. Fuck. So, if you go on the internet, homophobia is allowed. Doesn't matter where the fuck you go. Which is gross. You could find a chat room that has it as, not allowed, but that's a chat room, or a Discord server, or a YouTube channel. It's not the platform. It's not the platform, which is horrid. And then, similar to that, transphobia, baby. If you want a good example of transphobia being pushed and highlighted by the media and by social media, especially in a way that is harmful towards those people without ever getting any reprimand for the people posting it. Last year, whenever the Olympics happened, and Logan Paul posted about a certain individual who deserved no fucking hate. Hold up. Iman, she did nothing wrong. She trained her ass off. She got in there. She did everything she could do. She won. And then the internet went crazy at her for being transgender, which she wasn't. She wasn't. All of her tests came back and she's a biological woman. There's nothing here that is not a woman. Not that trans women aren't women, but here's a biological woman. That's a cooter. But whenever it was proved that they were spreading misinformation and lying and hurting this woman and hurting her family and hurting millions of other women, instead of backtracking and saying, okay, I made a mistake, they said, well, she's not, but other people are. And that's just as bad. You know how fucking gross it is that that's allowed? That's not only allowed, but that one of the biggest people on the internet said that, continued to say that, did not backtrack, said it more, and then hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people agree, and then pull him up on a pedestal and hold him up and say, we like him. He's cool. How? How is that a thing that is in any way allowed anywhere? I need a minute before I start screaming. As a member of the queer community and as a trans person, that's gross. It genuinely makes me feel horrible about my body. It makes me feel horrible. It makes me feel like I need to throw up. And it makes me feel horrible for the people who are harmed by it, who have done nothing fucking wrong, which is everyone who's harmed by it. I hate the blatant lies. I hate the people getting away with that. And I hope that Iman and her family are doing good and that she is okay and that didn't affect her in a horrible way, because I know that it can. To any people out there who get that information spread about them that's horrible and bad for you, I'm so sorry that you go through that. I'm so sorry that you have to deal with that. And to all of my queer brothers and sisters, I'm sorry. To all of my females out there who have done nothing wrong but get terrible things said about you, I'm sorry. To all of my Asian fans, to the people here that are of color, to the people here that have an accent or whatever, I'm sorry that you have to go through that. It's incredibly gross that it's allowed on the internet and that you guys have to deal with it and that there's no real way of getting away from it. Because in real life, people are like that, and online, people are like that, and there's no escape. I'm sorry. And I truly wish that there was a way to actually change that and to help in any way, shape, or form. I love you guys. So, next segment. If you spread misinformation online and you openly and blatantly lie to people and you harm groups of people for doing absolutely nothing wrong, fuck you. Period. There is no good excuse for it. Fuck you. So yeah, there's that. If you do something like that and then you backtrack and you express that you did something wrong and you like try to fix the issue at hand, you didn't do anything wrong. You fucked up and then you tried to fix it. If you continuously spread lies and you continuously spread misinformation and you continuously be harmful to groups of people for simply being a group of people, fuck you. You are a bad person. End quote. Another really gross thing that people are doing whenever it comes to making content is that they make it about people who they shouldn't be making it about. For example, the parents who are evil enough to use their child's disability or their child's mental issue or their child's physical damage or anything similar for content. That is fucking evil. Like, if your child has Down syndrome and your first thought is, yep, gotta make content out of it. I've gotta record the little fucker. I have to. I just have to. You're a bad person. I don't care. You're a bad person. Comma, if you are documenting things about them in a way that is completely fine and normal, that's different. Like if you ask for their permission to do the sort of thing you're doing and you are not like using them, if you are simply being like, Billy went fishing, this is so fucking cool, we're so happy for him, that's fine. That's cool. Or if it's a home video sort of situation and it's like he fucking spilled eggs everywhere and we're teaching him that eggs break or something like that, cool. However, if you force them into situations and you make them do stuff and you're terrible to them off camera and you harm them in making things and you put them in horrid situations to make content, you are, by all means, an evil individual and you don't deserve your child. You don't deserve your child. Whatever he is to you, whatever she is to you, whatever they are to you, you do not fucking deserve to have them in your life. So fuck you if you do that. Horrendously fuck you. Like, biggest fuck you. Like, giant foam finger fuck you. Fuck you if you do that. Similarly, people that do that with pets, you're fucking evil. If your dog is missing a leg and then you make it into content, you're a bad person. That's all. If your cat has diabetes and you turn it into content in a way that is not helpful, if you make that video and it's informative and it's helping other people who have the same issue with their pet, cool. Great. You're being informative, you're helping. If you're just using them for views and you're using them for clout and you're using them for content, you are, by all means, a terrible person. Fuck you. So, there's that. I hate people so much. Please ignore the glare up there, the lights on, because I feel like being in the darkness while talking about main stuff is worse for me. Idolization and treating people on the internet like they are a higher being, parasocial relationships, things like that are gross. They just are. Viewing a content creator as somebody who is above you is crazy. Viewing a film producer as a god is crazy. Looking at an actor and thinking they are perfect is crazy. That sort of thing is weird. People who treat it in a parasocial way are fucking insane. For example, the dream stands who are like infinitely caught up on everything in that dude's personal life and know every little detail about him and have since even before the face reveal and shit. You're gross. You're just gross. As much as I don't like him, you're the issue. You're gross. Or the people who, like, Jacksepticeye told a story that at, like, a fan meeting, it was like PAX or whatever it was, somebody came up and touched him in a weird way and said something along the lines of, like, I wish you'd stayed single or whatever it was. And that's gross. That's gross. You don't know Sean. You don't. Whoever did that, you're gross. You're gross. You should not be on the internet, and you need to learn how to treat people, because that's fucking horrid. Similarly, the people who were super weird about Shane and Courtney of Smosh getting together and getting married. The people who were weird about that, what's your fucking problem? Why do you do that? That's so weird. Why would you do that at all? Like, what purpose does it serve for you to be a fucking weirdo in that way? So, parasocial shit is weird. I didn't follow Corpse Husband. Didn't follow him. Didn't know a whole lot about the guy. But the stories of how weird people were about him, about how rude people were to him, and about all the stuff of his face being leaked, and then everyone being an asshole. Those people, if you leaked the face, if you were mean about it, if you were parasocial about it, you are fucking weird. You're also evil. You ruined a guy's fucking life. Period. You're horrid. And that happens all the time to so many people, and there's no real way to stop it as a creator, and there's no real way to stop it as a platform. The people have to stop it, but they're not going to because they're weird freakazoids. So, little statement, because I'm never going to stop making content. If I get to the point where I am large enough to have, like, a fan base that isn't like the people on the Discord and stuff, don't fucking do that to me. Because I just will not have any respect for you whatsoever. If you hassle me in that sort of way, fuck you. And I will not be kind about it if you do that sort of shit in person. No. You're a fucking weirdo. So yeah, if you do that to creators, if you do that to celebrities, if you do that to anyone, you're a bad person and a freak. And, yeah, really, I can't say too much more about that without just naming 96 curse words and ending every, like, little bit of it with fuck you. So, yeah, fuck you. It's just straight face, fuck you if you do that. People who do stuff on the internet just for money are weird to me. I don't understand. Because, let's say theoretically, because it's a theoretical thing, it might not ever happen. Let's say, theoretically, I hit 1,000 subs in like 2 months, and then short while after that I get the 3,000 watch hours or whatever. So then I'm able to start making money off of YouTube. And I'm making, we'll say, for a random number, I start pumping out content a lot, and I make $100 a month, right? Cool. Great. I'm not going to change what I'm making to make more money. I'm not going to stop cursing and be super family friendly to make more money. That's not a thing that's going to occur. And I'm also not going to sell my soul to some multi-channel network to make more money, because that's not why this channel exists. This channel exists so that I can creatively fulfill what I want to do. I can talk about things going on in my life to people who have any sort of interest in it or share my interests. It's a way for me to conversate with people who I would consider my friends these days on the Discord. And it's a way for me to do something with the time that I have when I'm home instead of sitting around doing nothing. And I have been doing this since I was 7. I have been making content since I was 7, and I haven't made a cent off of it. And I've never expected to. If it happens, awesome. If it never happens, awesome. I'm still going to do this. And I see other people who have started without making money. For example, Markiplier, Moist Critical, who's another really good example? Like the people over at Snapcube, Penny Parker. People do this because it's awesome. People do this because it's something that we enjoy. People do this because it is beautiful. And people do this because it is a way to creatively fulfill yourself. It is something that is awesome. Those people, as far as I know, especially the first two, because of when they started, weren't doing this for money, you know? And I think that's the way people should do this. People who make content on any platform, I think, should be doing it out of want to be creative, out of want to share parts of themselves instead of for financial gain, which so many fucking people have perfected how to make money off of it and just do that. And they just do that and they just do that. And I think that's really gross. Like, creators making money is good. I think that's awesome. I think that should be cool, and more people should. I think they should make it easier for people to gain something from this. However, to the people who are min-maxing YouTube and min-maxing Twitch so they can make as much money as possible in as little an amount of time with as little work as needed, you're like ruining the fun of YouTube. You're making numbers more important than content. Which is kind of gross when the platform's built on creators and people who give a shit about what they're making and passionate projects being made by people who want to make things and people who are inspired by each other and by other mediums and whatnot. So if you're min-maxing that and you're making it the perfect way to make money instead of a passion project or instead of putting your heart into it, I think that's really fucking gross. I think that's a disservice to what the internet is. So, you know, that's kind of gross. Next segment. I don't know how to get into this one without seeming like a liberal sissy, so Band-Aid pull off. I think a guy who owns the biggest social media platform on the planet, right? Rather it be Zuckerberg with Facebook, or Musk with Twitter, or fucking whoever owns YouTube currently, or whoever owns Instagram, which I think is also Zuckerberg. Those people, right? With all of that influence and all of that power on that, like, social media service, shouldn't be able to influence, affect, and push political ideologies. I think that's horridly gross. For example, Elon Musk taking Twitter and everyone on it and saying, "We want Trump." And I'm not saying that because I'm a liberal. If somebody did that with Harris, I would also be disgusted because you own a social media platform. You are one of the most influential people on the planet, and you're one of the most, like, financially stable people on the planet. Musk is. And if you take all of that power and all of that influence, and then you push it on hundreds of millions of people all over the world, and say, this is who we should vote for, you are abusing your power, you are influencing people with misinformation, and you are doing things that are downright evil for personal gain when you're already the richest person on the planet. So that's gross. So that happened, and then Twitter became a right-wing cesspool. I don't hate right-wingers. Not all of them. There are plenty of people who are on the conservative side of things, who are respectable, who are intelligent, and who deserve love, respect, and care from people all over the world. And there are people over there who have love and respect for me. There are people over there who have love and respect for hundreds of people on the left. Those aren't the problem. The problem are the people who are unwilling to learn, unwilling to adapt, and unwilling to do anything of positivity with what they have in their head. And then they go online, and one of the most influential, powerful, and financially ready people on the planet share those hard, disgusting ideas. So then, instead of feeling any reason to change, they say, that person's successful, they have money, I agree with them, and they go with that. And in that situation, you lose the smart people, you lose the ones who were smart over there, because there's right-wingers who are super smart, there's right-wingers who are super financially, emotionally, and, statistically intelligent. There is. But those people aren't the ones that are swanning around you. They realize you have an issue and they leave. And that leaves you with people who don't have brains. And I'm not saying that because it's the right. That happens on the left as well. That happens over there. Because whenever somebody on the left does something really stupid, the smart people of the left move away from them. The ones who don't have fucking brains stay. It happens on both sides. But in this situation, the guy who owns Twitter did that over here. And that's really gross. And then using that power to push an agenda, and then using your billions of dollars to fund horrid people, that's pretty fucking gross. And if somebody on the left did that with all their power, people on the right would go crazy. They would be extremely upset, and they would probably start a fucking civil war. But that didn't happen with the left doing it. The right does it, and it's okay. That's the difference in that situation. Me personally, I think both of those political ideologies are kind of stupid. I think both Trump and Harris are both bad choices. I think Bernie Sanders might have been the good choice, but this isn't a political video. This is an internet video. I'll talk about politics another time. I'm a silly, goofy, haha, little fucking jester, or whatever. But I think the idea of somebody who holds all the power over some social media stuff shouldn't be able to express their points and opinions on something that affects the lives of the whole fucking planet. I think that's gross. And if anybody does that on either side, no matter what your opinions are, I think that's really fucking disgusting. I think that's really gross. I think that's super unhelpful towards progressing as a society, and I think that's super unhelpful as a way of all of us coming together, which is what they say they want on both sides, but neither side shows it. So, I think that's kind of gross. Next point. The internet has always had terrible things on it. It has always had ISIS beheading videos, and people getting hit by cars, and people fucking animals and stuff. That's always been there. But it seems that more today, that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV. But, genuinely, it seems like those terrible things are so much easier to find. Like, if you open Reddit, you can find somebody getting their head blown off with a shotgun. If you open Twitter, you can find a woman being raped. If you open Instagram and you scroll long enough, you'll find a hate crime. And all of that's easily accessible, and on some of those sites doesn't even get, banned. Like, on Reddit, that horrid ripping someone in half with a chainsaw. You find that video, it'll still be there, it's not getting taken down. Or the fucking video of somebody being molested, that's staying. Don't worry, it'll be there later. Or fucking Mr. Hands, you can find that video all over the place. That shouldn't be accessible. That's gross. And there's hundreds of thousands of videos like it, and there's hundreds of thousands of videos like the molestation, and there's hundreds of thousands of videos just like the fucking person being ripped in half. and all of that's just here. And I understand on like a statistical way that like getting rid of all of it would literally be impossible because it just keeps getting re-uploaded and re-uploaded and re-uploaded. And I understand that. I do. That I get. However, the tolerance of the stuff is kind of weird. It seems like we're not even trying to get rid of that stuff anymore. We're not trying to get rid of the hardcore misogyny. We're not trying to get rid of the rape videos. We're not trying to get rid of the people being ripped in half. We're not trying to get rid of the bestiality. We're told it's bad. Don't look at it. It's there. Don't look though. Which doesn't really work. I don't know if you've ever been on the internet, but when it says, hey, don't click here, I click there. Or, don't go in this room. Well, I'm going in that room. I'm opening that fucking door. Because humans are weird creatures or whatever. So there's that, which is a little weird. I changed shirts because I felt like my hair sitting on the dark green shirt wasn't visible, and I think that's weird. So now I'm wearing a pink shirt with a hole in it. Anyways, another issue that I don't have in my bullet points, but I do want to bring up, is there's so many copies of everything. Like, there's a million copycats of literally everything. You like Undertale? Here's a bunch of, like, Undertale rip-offs. Not the fan games. Those are different. The rip-offs. Oh, you like that movie, that really hard to find movie that was made in 1970 and was only released on disc for like 3 months and isn't on streaming? I have an option for you. It's not the same movie, not the same actors, and the only thing similar is that we stole the script. Or you like Markiplier? You like his voice and you like the way that he conversates with people? Okay, well here's a Markiplier clone made by AI. It's good, I promise. And then there's a million copycats of every idea. And like, I know you can't actually make a video that's never been made before. Like, statistically, it's fucking crazy the improbability of it. So like, any video I make, somebody else has probably made the same video. Like, I made a video about Lord of the Rings this week. There's 653,307 Lord of the Rings videos. You know what I mean? Or Quietest Podcast. There's a million ASMR channels that do it better than me. There's 1,000 podcasts that are better than me. You know what I mean? So, like, there's infinitely gonna be people who have made the same thing you're making or make the same thing as you. And that's normal. Like, people playing the same game or whatever. However, the people who take your content and do the exact same video, they say, okay, Critical made this video. I'm going to take his exact points and say them again. Or they're going to say, look at this Mr. Beast video, they got really good numbers. I'm going to recreate it and make so much money. And that's gross as fuck. And that happens everywhere. And that happens all over the internet. It's not just YouTube. It's not just Twitch. It's all over Twitter. It's all over Instagram. It's all over fucking messaging boards. It's all over 4chan. Speaking of, 4chan is a cesspool. Fuck, I don't want to get into 4chan. It is gross. Everyone over there is disgusting. And also, there was some crazy shit that may or may not be Elon Musk that was over there that's really gross. There's a lot on the internet where people are just copying statements, copying ideas, copying exact words, and walking off with it as if it is theirs, as if it is original, and as if it is something to be proud of, when in reality all they're doing is stealing from people in a creative way. Sorry, the cat came in here. One moment. Come here, Bubba. Come here. You want to be on camera for a moment? Just for a second, Bubba. Look at this little guy. There you go, Bubba. You're free. The baby wanted to be on camera for a moment. Oh, they need me to fix their food. Hold up. I don't want to be too rude about the copying of content because everyone does it. There's no creator out there who has only ever made completely original stuff because it just, like, the probability of that is so goddamn low. Because you can make a video where you say nothing that's ever been said before, in that order, I guess, that hasn't been said in that order before. However, you're making a video about something that has been talked about. You're making a video about an idea that's been talked about, or a fandom that's been talked about, or whatever. And if you're talking about something that happened to you, it's happened to somebody else before, and it's on the internet of somebody talking about it. So, like, in that way, it's typical. Like, every video I've ever made, somebody's talked about something similar, you know? And I've done a full video as critical. Like, I've done the voice and, like, talked with the terms that he uses and stuff. I've made a video as critical, which is, like, exactly copying him, you know what I mean? But I did that in a comedic sense and in a way that was supposed to be a comedic version of siding with him in a beef that was going on. However, if I were to take a critical video, say every fucking word that he said, and then plaster it on my channel expecting more views, that would be straight stealing. And that happens a lot on the internet. It happens on YouTube, it happens on Twitter, it happens everywhere. It happens on fucking news sources. Like, the news will see a quote on the internet, they will take it and they will plaster it without learning if it means anything or if it matters. Which is kind of fucking crazy that that's a thing that can happen. Isn't it? Isn't that, like, a little weird? That like, something that is big enough and powerful enough to spread information across the whole world to millions of people and is trusted to do that can take something as simple as a quote that doesn't make sense and plaster it everywhere as a source of information? Isn't that, like, really fucking gross? You guys like my cat? You like the kitty? That bit where I picked up the king, that was actually a like the video checkpoint. You're supposed to like the video whenever you see the king. And if I pull him up again, it'll be a subscribe checkpoint where you have to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I'm kidding. You never have to like or subscribe to me or anything like that. Because I feel like asking politely, like, hey, if you like the video, sub, is cool. But there's a lot of creators who are like, hey, you need to like the video. Like the video or I'm gonna kill myself. If I don't hit 1,000 subs in 2 days, I will cut the throat of my child. And people take that shit way too seriously. So, feel free to do that. Don't feel pressured to do that. Same with the Patreon. Like, if you want to support, go over there and do that. If you don't worry about it. And then with the Discord, same thing. This has been a little bit of a tangent, and I will move on with talking about how the internet is broken. I think another big issue on the internet is that so many people are desensitized to so many things. The idea of shootings and bombings are basic. People are complacent with the ideas of those happening. The ideas of murder and being assaulted and all of that is looked at as a normal part of life and something that is going to happen. Or whenever people see somebody get hit by a car, instead of thinking, is that person okay? It's, yep, they got hit by a car. Or they record it or whatever. Or people see somebody get beheaded on Reddit and then they have no reaction to it because they're so desensitized to that sort of gore and to that sort of disgusting depravity that it's just part of everyday life and it no longer affects them. Similarly with other horrid things like hate crimes happening, it's just part of life. You just see it and it's gone. Or the ideas of sexual assault and rape. It's just part of life. People don't react to it as much as we most definitely should, and I think that's super fucking gross. I think that's disgusting, and I think it heavily affects the way that we currently work, but also the way that the next generation of people are going to work, and the next generation of people are going to respond to things, and I think it's really fucked up that is the direction we're moving in, that people not only don't care, but that in the future it feels like more people are not going to care, and more people are going to be complacent with it, and that it is going to stop being a thing that people care about, and that it's just going to be there, and it's just going to be part of life. And that's super sad, and that's super morbid, and I hope that I am wrong, and that we are wrong, and that that's not accurate. So, that's probably pretty gross. I would like to read the very last thing that I found on Reddit before I deleted my account. Because I was already planning this video, and I talked about this video last week, and I talked about the video on Monday, and I've talked about it to a couple people in person and stuff. So I didn't get the idea from this post, but I did find this right before getting rid of Reddit from user Pero Internista, PERROINTERNISTA, 5 days ago. Anyone else feel like the internet is just broken now? Not even a back in my day way, but like something's feeling off. Everything online feels either like an ad, a hustle, or something trying to go viral. Nothing feels real anymore. Social media, same recycled trends and fake, relatable content. YouTube, just people reacting to drama from other YouTubers reacting to the same drama. News, either AI written or just some copy-pasted PR garbage. Even memes are starting to feel like they're made in a lab somewhere. I scroll and I'm like, what am I even looking for? Nothing surprises me, nothing feels spontaneous, and when someone actually posts something real, it gets buried. It's not even fun to talk online anymore. Half of the replies are arguments, the other half feel like bots pretending to be quirky. I miss when the internet felt like exploring. Now it feels like being force-fed whatever the algorithm thinks will keep me scrolling 0.2 seconds longer. Just me. And I think there are dozens, hundreds, probably thousands, if not a million people who feel similarly. And a lot of those people are not doing much about the fact that they feel that way, and I'm not here to judge, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life or anything. But I think if you're feeling that way, you should maybe join me in getting rid of a lot of social media. And I'm not going to tell you to get rid of all of it, because there could be things you do where it's part of your job or whatever. But I think more people should try to move away from it. And it's really gross, and it shouldn't be an issue to begin with. And I really wish, I don't know. It doesn't feel special anymore. Being online doesn't feel special, and it doesn't feel like it positively influences me. I don't feel like it positively influences many other people. And sadly, I feel like every day it gets a little bit worse. So, that sucks. I think over the past couple years, and especially the past few months, and more so every single day, one of the biggest issues with the internet is the abundance of AI. Rather it be AI being used creatively, if AI is being used for vocalization or for music, or if it's being used for art, or if it's being used for news, if it's being used for content, and all things similar. I think it is harmful towards everyone. I think AI can be used. I think there are ways it can be used that are super good and super helpful. I think there are ways that you can use it that are helpful towards creativity. Asking for ideas, asking for ways to make things work, ways to combine two things. There's a million things you can ask it to do that are helpful. It making art, it making things is harmful towards you, it's harmful towards every creator, it's bad in every way that you can possibly think. And I don't think it should go away. I think that it should be used better. I think the people using it for content farms are the ones making a problem. I think the people using it to do deepfakes and spread misinformation is the problem. I think the people who use it instead of making art are the problem. I think the issues are individual versions of it and not it as a whole. Because ChatGPT, for example, you could use that in ways that are super helpful, in ways that are positive, in ways that are like genuinely good uses for it. Uh, but then there's also ways you can use it to cheat for an essay, or you could use it to get an answer for a question that doesn't actually give you the right answer because you asked it wrong. Or you can use it for artistic reasons, which is, depending on how you use it, really cool or really destructive towards artists. There's a million things wrong with it and a million things good with it, and people need to weed it out and make it work, or not use it at all. I'm tired. I'm tired of being confused, being lost, and for not being able to understand the stuff that I'm finding on the internet, and for feeling like I'm falling out of love with the internet. It gets worse every day. People are getting worse every day. The things being spread online get worse every day. And it feels like this place that used to be my wonderland, that used to be the area that I would go to be creative, the area that I go to seek out other people being creative, to seek out things that are intriguing and interesting and things that make me feel better. It feels like every day it gets further and further away from being a place I want to be. I'm not leaving. I'm going to continue to make YouTube stuff Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I will be streaming this weekend. And I will continue to do that pretty much for as long as I can because I love this. But there's a lot of stuff that is to the side of this. Things that are similar that I can't be a part of. I have been recording and then pausing, researching and recording since 9 o'clock this morning. It is currently 12:33, so I've been doing this for a minute. I'm not gonna stop yet. For the last little bit of this, I just want to thank you guys. To the people who watch the videos and the people who show support in every way you can, for the people in the Discord, for anyone who's ever liked a video, or the 742 people who have subscribed, or any of the people who have shared anything or commented or whatever. Thank you. To the people who create things online and are not being problematic, thank you. I love this. I always have, and I hope I always do. I wish that I knew how to make the internet a better place. Wish I knew how to help, how to make it more positive, and how to do things that are, helpful. I hope the internet gets better. I hope the people on it get smarter. I hope it becomes a safe space again. I hope it becomes another space where it's safe for me, it's safe for my friends, it's safe for anybody who ever wants to be on it, and that the hate and the misinformation and all of that is able to subside. If you watched all the way through this, comment your thoughts on all this internet garbage, but make another comment. And you know what should be in the other one? What's your favorite like sauce? What's your favorite like condiment? Just for a little saucy gimmick in there. Tell me what you like. Tell me what type of sauce you'd like. With naan, a cheese with naan. But thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you so much for the time you guys have always given me. Thank you for listening to my rants, and hopefully we can make the internet a better place. I don't have much else to say, really. Just thank you guys, and stay safe out there, everybody. Yeah. Thank you for listening to me rant and letting me get all of that out. Thank you for watching and for supporting, and thank you guys so much for always being here for me when I need it. It means the world. It really does. Bye-bye, everybody.